Alex Bregman's stunning 3-homer, 7 RBI night headlined a wild Wednesday across baseball as the Cubs blitzed Washington in the day's biggest blowout while Tampa Bay quietly pushed its win streak to 9 straight. The Twins held off the Orioles 7-5 at home, riding a strong offensive push from the middle of their lineup. Zibby Matthews worked 5 innings and picked up the win despite allowing 4 earned runs, and closer Yoendrys Gomez slammed the door with a clean 1-inning save to seal it. Minnesota's offense was paced by Josh Bell, who went 3 for 5 with an RBI, and Alan Rodin, who was even better at 3 for 3 with a run driven in. Both punched tickets onto the fantasy radar with multi-hit nights that streaming managers should note. Baltimore didn't go quietly, getting a solo homer from Leody Taveras and another from Dylan Beavers as the Orioles tried to claw back, but it wasn't enough to overcome Minnesota's balanced attack, with contributions up and down the lineup from Victor Caratini, Cody Clemens, Brooks Lee, Royce Lewis, and Trevor Larnach all reaching base. The Twins improved their record with a well-rounded win that featured pitching, power, and clutch hitting all in the same afternoon. The Cardinals cruised past the Phillies 7-1 at home in a lopsided affair that was over early. Kyle Lee, he was terrific in the win, striking out 6 over 5 innings while allowing just 1 earned run to keep Philadelphia's lineup off balance all afternoon. Louis backed him with a deep lineup effort. Jordan Walker, Nathan Church, J.J. Weatherholt, Alec Burleson, Cesar Prado, Everson Pera, and Ivan Herrera all collected hits, and Walker and Weatherholt each swiped a bag to add some speed to the mix. Philadelphia managed only scattered offense, with Justin Crawford, Bryce Harper, Alec Boehm, Bryson Stott, and Luis Ariz picking up hits but never stringing together the kind of rally needed to make it competitive. It was a clean, efficient win for St. Louis from start to finish, with the pitching staff setting the tone and the lineup doing the rest. The Rays kept rolling with an 8-4 win over the Athletics, and this one came with a headline number. Tampa Bay has now won 9 straight games, one of the hottest streaks in baseball right now. Liam Hicks led the way at the plate, going 3 for 5 with a homer and 3 RBI, while Johnny DeLuca chipped in a 3 for 5 night of his own and swiped a bag alongside Victor Meza Jr. Drew Rasmussen picked up the win, working 5 innings and allowing 2 earned runs with 3 strikeouts. Oakland didn't fold, getting a power boost from Lawrence Butler and Zach Geloff, who both went deep to keep the Athletics within striking distance, and Henry Bolt added a stolen base. But Tampa Bay's offense proved too deep, spreading hits throughout the lineup en route to their 9th consecutive victory, a streak that shows no signs of slowing down. The Rockies topped the Diamondbacks 6-4 on the road behind a complete team effort. Ryan Feltner earned the win with 5 innings of 2-run ball, and Jordan Romano nailed down the save. Colorado got the power surge it needed from Brett Sullivan and Zach Veen, who both homered, while Willie Castro added a stolen base. Arizona countered with a solo shot from Corbin Carroll, but the Diamondbacks came up short despite a strong game from catcher Gabriel Morneau, who collected a hit to extend his hitting streak to 7 straight games, one of the more quietly impressive runs in baseball right now. Ketel Marte, Geraldo Perdomo, and Max Kepler also reached base for Arizona, but Colorado's balanced attack and steady pitching were enough to close it out on the road. The Astros edged the Giants 2-1 in a tight, low-scoring pitchers duel. Steven Okert picked up the win with 1.1 scoreless innings out of the bullpen, and Josh Hader closed things out with a save to preserve the 1-run margin. Houston's offense was modest, with Nick Allen, Taylor Trammell, Jeremy Pena, and Yordan Alvarez collecting the team's hits. San Francisco couldn't find enough offense to break through, managing hits from Drew Cavanaugh, Victor Bercotto, Christian Koss, and Willie Adams, with Koss adding a stolen base. It was a quiet, grinding affair decided by bullpen execution rather than big offensive fireworks. Neither lineup found much rhythm against sharp pitching all afternoon, and the difference in the end came down to Hader slamming the door in the 9th to lock up the tight road victory for Houston. The Padres edged the Brewers 4-3 in a game defined by speed and one big swing. Xander Bogaerts provided the power with the home run, and Adrian Morejon picked up the win by striking out 4 over 2 scoreless innings out of the bullpen. San Diego ran wild on the bases with Fernando Tatis Jr. swiping 2 bags, a strong 2-steal night. That's exactly the kind of speed and power combo fantasy managers love, while Lund Song and Jace Bowman each added a steal of their own. Jackson Merrill kept his hot streak alive with a hit, running his run of games with a hit to 7 straight. Milwaukee got a home run from Gary Sanchez and stolen bases from Garrett Mitchell and David Hamilton, but it wasn't enough to overcome San Diego's deep, multifaceted attack in a game San Diego controlled for most of the afternoon. The Guardians topped the Tigers 6-4 on the road, getting a big night from Angel Martinez, who went 3 for 5 with an RBI to power the offense. Foster Griffin earned the win with 5 innings of one-run ball, and Cade Smith locked things down with a 1.1-inning save. Joe Adell also went deep for Cleveland, adding to the offensive damage. Detroit stayed in it thanks to a home run from Gleyber Torres and got hits from Zach McKinstry, Howie Lee, Javier Baez, Spencer Torkelson, and Max Clark, but couldn't complete the comeback against Cleveland's bullpen. It was a well-pitched, complete win for the Guardians, who got contributions from both their lineup and their arms to close it out on the road. The Marlins blew past the Pirates 8-2 at home, powered by home runs from Griffin Canine and Heriberto Hernandez. Jansen Jonk was excellent on the mound, going 6 innings and allowing just 1 earned run to pick up the win. Miami's lineup was humming all game, with Jacob Marcy, Javier Sinoja, Xavier Edwards, Agustin Ramires, and Joe Mack all collecting hits to back up the power surge. Pittsburgh managed only a handful of hits from Ronnie Simon, Brandon Lowe, Esmeralyn Valdez, and Nick Gonzalez, and never found a way to slow down Miami's offense. It was a dominant, wire-to-wire win for the Marlins, who got exactly what they needed from both the bats and the rotation. The lopsided final reflected a game that was competitive for only the first couple of innings before Miami took full control. The Cubs put on an offensive clinic in a 12-6 rout of the Nationals, and the headline was Alex Bregman's monster night. He went 3 for 3 with 3 home runs and 7 RBI. One of the most electric individual performances of the season and an obvious streaming must-add for any fantasy manager who doesn't already have him rostered. Dansby Swanson added his own homer, and Pedro Ramires chipped in a 2-for-2 stolen base game on the bases, giving Chicago speed to go with the power. David Peterson worked 5 innings for the win, striking out 6 despite allowing 3 earned runs, and Javier Assad closed it out with a 4-inning save. Washington tried to answer, getting home runs from Abanlek Ortiz and Jose Tina, and swiped 3 bags between Brady House, C.J. Abrams, and Dalen Lyle, with Harry Ford, Jacob Young, and Andrew Pinckney also reaching base. But there was no answer for Bregman, whose 3-homer explosion single-handedly outscored the entire Nationals lineup and stood as the signature performance of the day across all of baseball. It's the kind of night that reshapes a fantasy lineup and reminds everyone why Chicago's offense has been so dangerous. The Yankees blasted the Mariners 10-5 at home, keyed by a huge night from Trent Grisham, who went 3 for 5 with 2 home runs and 4 RBI, a line that jumps off the fantasy stat sheet and makes him a name to watch. Paul Blackburn picked up the win in relief, and Spencer Jones and Ben Rice each added a stolen base as New York's offense clicked on all cylinders. Seattle wasn't shut out offensively, getting home runs from Randy Arozarena, Dominic Canzone, and Julio Rodriguez, but the loss extends a rough stretch for the Mariners, who have now dropped 6 straight games. Josh Ayler, Cole Young, Cal Raleigh, and Brendan Donovan all had hits for Seattle, but their pitcher lineup that was left from top to the bottom. New York's balanced power display made this one lopsided by the middle innings. The Blue Jays edged the Red Sox 6-4 at home in a game that came down to bullpen execution. Tyler Rogers picked up the win with a scoreless inning, and Louis Varland closed it out with a 2/3 inning save to preserve the 2-run margin. Andrés Giménez continued his strong summer with a hit, extending his hitting streak to 7 straight games for Toronto, while Ernie Clement added a stolen base. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Alejandro Kirk, and Kazuma Okamoto also collected hits in the win. Boston got a home run from Wilson Contreras and hits from Will Abreu, Andrew Monasterio, Caleb Durbin, Jarren Duran, Nick Sogard, and Rafaela, but couldn't quite complete the comeback against Toronto's bullpen. Toronto's relief corps proved to be the difference maker in a game that stayed within reach for Boston until the final outs. Braves outslugged the Mets 6-3 at home in a power-packed affair that saw 6 total home runs. Austin Riley, Mike Yastrzemski, and Lane Thomas all went deep for Atlanta, with Riley also turning in a 3-for-4, 1 RBI night alongside Drake Baldwin's matching 3-for-4, 1 RBI performance. Tyler Mahle was excellent on the mound, striking out 7 over 6 innings while allowing just 1 earned run to pick up the win. New York didn't go quietly, countering with home runs from Luis Torrens, Bo Bichette and Lewis Robert Jr. and getting additional hits from Carson Bench and Jared Young. But Atlanta's offense proved too much to overcome, with Ronald Acuna Jr. and Sean Murphy also reaching base to help build the cushion. It was a slugfest from the first inning that Atlanta controlled thanks to Maul's steady work on the mound and power from multiple spots in the lineup. The White Sox shut out the Reds 5-0 behind a dominant performance from Luis Castillo, who struck out 10 batters over 7 scoreless innings to pick up the win, one of the best pitching lines of the day anywhere in baseball. Chicago's offense backed him with home runs from Chase Majorath and Drew Romo, while Sam Antonacci went 3 for 5 and added a stolen base. Colson Montgomery, Braden Montgomery, Brenton Doyle and Tristan Peters also chipped in hits to round out the offensive support. Cincinnati's lineup simply had no answer for Castillo, with Ellie De La Cruz, Matt McLain, Eugenio Suarez and the rest of the order held hitless or hurtless all afternoon. It was a complete game-caliber effort that set the tone early and never let Cincinnati threaten, giving the White Sox a clean, dominant shutout win. The Dodgers beat the Royals 4-2 at home behind a power surge from the middle of their lineup. Shohei Ohtani and Mookie Betts both went deep, and Hunter Fiducia added a home run of his own to give Los Angeles all the offense it would need. Eric Lauer was sharp in the win, working 6.1 innings and allowing just 1 earned run with 6 strikeouts, and Landon Neck finished things off with a 2.2-inning save. Freddie Freeman, Andy Pages, and Miguel Rojas also collected hits for the Dodgers. Kansas City stayed competitive thanks to hits from Josh Rojas, Salvador Perez, Starling Marte, Jack Caglianone, and Bobby Witt Jr. and Tyler Talbot chipped in a stolen base, but the Royals couldn't generate enough offense to keep pace with the Dodgers lineup getting home runs from 3 different spots in the order. The Angels beat the Rangers 5-2 at home behind a strong two-way effort. Mike Trout was the offensive standout, going 3 for 5 with 2 RBI, while George Klassen picked up the win with 6 innings of work, striking out 5 and allowing 2 earned runs. Ben Joyce closed it out with a save. Los Angeles also ran the bases well, with Jose Siri, Zach Neto, and Trout himself each swiping a bag. Texas got a strong answer from Corey Seager, who went 3 for 4 with a home run and an RBI, but the Rangers' night came with a notable footnote. Brandon Nimmo's 7-game hitting streak came to an end, snapped without a hit in this one. Evan Carter, Jock Pederson, Justin Foscue, and Elias Diaz also had hits for Texas, but it wasn't enough to overcome the Angels' balanced attack on both sides of the ball. Tampa Bay is the hottest team in baseball right now, riding a 9-game winning streak after Wednesday's win over Oakland, while Seattle sits at the other end, having dropped 6 straight following their loss in New York. On the individual side, Jackson Merrill kept his hit streak alive at 7 straight games for San Diego, and Andrés Giménez matched that mark, extending his own hitting streak to 7 games for Toronto. 2 teams trending in opposite directions, and 2 hitters who just won't stop finding the barrel. It was a loaded day for fantasy managers. Alex Bregman was the headliner with a 3-homer, 7 RBI explosion for the Cubs, as good a stat line as you'll see all season. Trent Grisham wasn't far behind, going deep twice with 4 RBI for the Yankees. On the speed side, Fernando Tatis Jr. swiped 2 bags for San Diego, and Pedro Ramirez matched him with 2 steals of his own for Chicago, giving both standing shifting value in steals-heavy formats. And in Minnesota, Josh Bell quietly turned in a 3 for 5 night worth a look for lineups needing a corner and field boost. That's a wrap on today's action around the league. Hit subscribe so you never miss a recap, and we'll see you back here tomorrow for more.